Hi, I'm Kelly Watson from Orange Grove Consulting. Let's talk for a moment about sponsorship. We've all heard that sponsorship is important and that there are different kinds of sponsorship. There's formal sponsorship and there's informal sponsorship. So, the problem we have with inclusion is often how sponsorship is carried out in an organization. So, I'm going to talk for a second about the informal side of that and what that often looks like for people. So, informal sponsorship is when someone says, "Hey, here's a lead," or "Come with me to a client. I want to show you how this situation works itself out, or how we go about doing something like this." Or let me pass along some of my old business to you so that you can get a foothold and get yourself started. It might look like we socialize together and I provide you with, sort of the read between the lines information, the stuff that's not necessarily intuitive or that anybody's going to formally tell you about the job, but I'm going to kind of fill in those gaps as we socialize together. It might look like I give you references or I give you some kind of just a handoff of information that you may not get otherwise. It also might look like, hey, don't get discouraged. Everybody has a hard time at the beginning of their job. You're going to get better over time. So it might even just be words of encouragement. You walk out of a meeting and you didn't perform that well, and somebody just taps you on the shoulder and says, "Hey, that's okay. I didn't do that great my first time either." So these are all informal sort of things that are happening and happen behind the scenes, happen in an informal context. It may even be that somebody's referring you for a job and helping you get that next step. Without that, let's talk for a second about what it looks like to be on the outside of a group, or maybe not getting that sort of informal sponsorship. You may have formal meetings with a sponsor who is walking you through sort of what it takes to be successful in the job. But it can feel very much like a sink or swim environment. Like, well, I've given you the tools. Now you have to go out and do it. Instead of having that nice reference, you might have to go out and cold call yourself, or you've got to build, you end up building less profitable business or doing things in a very inefficient way because somebody hasn't really shown you or filled in the gaps as easily. So you have to learn everything the hard way, which then takes longer for you to be successful. And without somebody to just pat you on the shoulder when you come out of a meeting that didn't go well or you failed at something, without somebody saying, "Hey, that's okay. I had that problem the first time too. It's going to be okay." You may have your confidence undermined and it may take you longer and you may even give up. So, obviously, it's really important to have this informal sponsorship going on. And the problem is when you're a member of an out group is that it's harder for someone to sponsor you. It's harder for someone to feel comfortable. Maybe they don't want to socialize with someone who's a member of an out group. And what it leads to is a more homogeneous group of people that are in this in crowd that are getting the sponsorship. And then we wonder why, we don't have more diversity as we move through the leadership pipeline. It leads to exclusion. So our recommendation is that you recognize these behaviors, recognize how important this informal sponsorship is, and be an ally. Go out there and look specifically for somebody that you wouldn't normally see as part of your group and be purposeful and authentic in some informal sponsorship for them. So it means stepping outside of your comfort zone a little, taking someone under your wing, and making a commitment that you're going to make them successful any way possible. And that means a lot of this filling in the gaps, a lot of this informal stuff. So be an ally, sponsor someone new.